The reliability of biblical prophecies. Can we trust the Bible's predictions? What if an ancient book contained predictions written centuries before the events they describe? Would that change the way we think about history? For thousands of years, the Bible has been studied not only as a sacred text, but also as a collection of writings that include remarkable prophetic claims. Supporters believe these prophecies point to God's guidance throughout history. Critics argue that many predictions are symbolic, written after the events, or interpreted in different ways. So what does the evidence actually show? Can biblical prophecies be tested? How do historians examine them? And why do these ancient writings continue to inspire debate after thousands of years? Tonight, we're beginning a journey through some of the Bible's best-known prophecies, exploring the historical context, the evidence, and the questions that continue to spark discussion around the world. Stay with us, because one of the most frequently discussed prophecies comes later in this documentary, and it has fascinated readers for centuries. But before we examine individual prophecies, we first need to understand what biblical prophecy actually is. 1. What is biblical prophecy? The role of prophets in ancient Israel. The difference between prophecy, poetry, and apocalyptic literature. Immediate versus long-term prophecies. Why context matters. But if prophecy is real, can any examples be examined using historical evidence? 2. Prophecies about nations. Discuss examples such as Babylon, Nineveh, Tyre, Jerusalem. Present the historical setting and explain that interpretations differ among scholars. The next section turns from kingdoms to one of the Bible's most discussed figures. 3. Messianic prophecies, promises in the Hebrew Scriptures. How Christians understand these passages. How Jewish interpretations may differ. Present both perspectives respectfully. But prophecy in the Bible isn't limited to individuals. 4. Symbols and visions, the Book of Daniel. Apocalyptic imagery. Why symbolism can lead to different interpretations. And that brings us to one of the Bible's most mysterious books. 5. Prophecy in the Book of Revelation. Literary style, historical background, major schools of interpretation. Avoid presenting one interpretation as the only possible view, but not every prophecy is accepted without question. 6. Common challenges and criticisms. Dating of texts, symbolic language, multiple fulfillments, different scholarly viewpoints. So how do historians evaluate ancient prophetic claims? 7. History, archaeology, and manuscripts. Ancient manuscripts. Archaeological discoveries. The importance of historical context. Explain what archaeology can and cannot establish. But perhaps the biggest question is still ahead. 8. Why do people interpret prophecy differently? Symbolic versus literal readings. Different Christian traditions. Jewish perspectives. Academic approaches. And now we return to the central question. 9. Can biblical prophecies be trusted? Point supporters emphasize. Questions critics raise. Areas where there is broad historical agreement. Areas that remain debated. For centuries, biblical prophecy has inspired faith, scholarship, debate, and careful study. Some readers see fulfilled prophecy as compelling evidence of divine guidance. Others view the same passages through historical, literary, or symbolic lenses. Whatever conclusion a person reaches, these writings have shaped civilizations and continue to invite thoughtful examination. Perhaps the enduring value of biblical prophecy is not only in the answers people believe it provides, but also in the questions it encourages us to ask about history, faith, and humanity's search for meaning. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this documentary, let us know in the comments which prophecy you would like us to explore next.